stop right there. We need to talk. How you doing tonight, today?
I'm doing good. We just came across the street from the park. What is that park called?
It's called the Western Heritage Park.
And we are in Bandera, Texas.
Bandera, Texas, cowboy capital of the world.
That is right.
Yeah, and I am with the Western Trail Gunfighters. We just put on a little bitty gunfight, and we're having a good time in Bandera, just helping people to realize and to experience the good old West. Lest we not forget it, we need to let them experience that, so that's why we're here.
Yes, there's a heck of a lot of history in this place. I love driving around, looking at the old structures. One of these days, I'm going to get a community host of some type to go around with me and kind of talk about these historic places in Bandera. But today, you embody history of Bandera in itself.
Yes, sir.
Mention your last name, or your family name.
My name is Roy Dugosh. I'm one of the descendants of the first 16 settlers who settled Bandera. Came here from the Silesian part of Poland, from Roshimir, and they came over in the Weser, landed in Galveston, went down to Indianola, got their provisions, heard that there was a lot of stuff going on for the Polish community in a place called Panna Maria. They got to Panna Maria and wasn't a whole lot going on, so they were kind of disappointed, but they got wind of a sawmill going in Bandera. A couple of guys came up here and set up a sawmill on the river and were cutting the cypress trees and making shingles, so they came up here to work in the cypress mill. So that's how the first 16 settlers got here. They got here, worked in the cypress mill, bought land. Well, the cypress mill washed away in a flood. Okay, so they were here, so they started farming and ranching and doing what they needed to do. And when they came in here, the old settlers were here, and they still had a few problems with the Indians. So the Indians, when the Spaniards came in here earlier, they saw that the Indian had some jewelry. So they asked them about it, and come to find out, there was started the deal of Bandera in this county for precious metal mining. There are 90-something marked mines in Bandera and neighboring counties about the precious metals. So that was the first thing that came in. Wow. And that's how it kind of got started here. Bandera kind of got started in about the 1850s is when they platted the town, started the township. And like I say, my family was here. And back in those days, with the Indians, they had people here, and when you came to town, they registered you. They wanted to know who you were, what you were, and how many guns you had, because they had their own patrol, and they called them the frontiersmen. Well, later on, the Texas governor called those frontiersmen Texas Rangers. So I have 2 Texas Rangers in my family. My great-great-grandpa was a Texas Ranger, and I got a couple of cousins and uncles who were Texas Rangers, but that was back then. That's what they had to do.
Wow. Now, part of the group that you perform with in these gunfights, just right off the county courthouse square.
Yes, sir.
In that little park over there. I understand that there's some famous fellows over there, and you're kind of famous yourself. So,
well, I'd like to think myself as the one who's going to make sure these guys are not forgotten. And if I get notoriety by it, that's not important. But the main thing is we got a lot of cowboys here. We got 70-something championship titles won by cowboys and cowgirls over there, of a town of less than 1,000. We've got one guy there who was 6 times world champion, Kev Roper. We got a young lady over there who at an early age, and she still lives here in Bandera, in the 3rd grade, she started winning the state 4-H championship, and she won it every year until she quit competing. What a champion that young lady is. And she won the 4-H barrel racing championship. So hats off, and that's kind of the character and the people that we have here, just really good old-fashioned Western, hard-working people who aren't afraid to put in the time to make it so.
Man, that sounds great. And now, explain a little bit about how Bandera got the, I guess, the title of being the cowboy capital of the world.
Yes, gladly. Well, Bandera, back in the days, and after the Civil War, there were millions of Longhorns roaming in South Texas, millions and millions and millions of them. Well, they started Charlie Goodnight started the great the cattle drives. And so he's noted for starting the cattle drives, and you had the Chisholm Trail and a bunch of different trails. And as civilization moved them, kept moving it, the trail through Bandera is known as the Great Western Cattle Trail. And so what happened there is this was the last trail. This was the biggest trail. More cattle, more cowboys, more horses went up the Great Western Trail than all the other trails combined. Up the Great Western Trail, we had 10 million longhorns, 2 million horses, and 30,000 cowboys came up through Bandera in the Great Western Cattle Trail days. In the late 1800s, there's over 1,000 cattle brands registered at the courthouse for those cattle drives. They had to register their cattle brands for the cattle drive.
And what kind of ranches are here in this time of day?
Well, and you bring up an interesting point too. Now, back in the early days, there was a ranch here called the Bruce Ranch, and a lot of people just got really liking to live the Western life, and so they actually started saying yes, and they're having their guests come out and have them live on the ranch and do ranch work, and so thus the dude ranches were born, of cattle drives and rounding up cows and working on the ranch and barbecues and all this kind of stuff. People wanted to experience that, and that's one of the things that we still do today. And another thing that we do today is we have a bunch of trick ropers in town. Bandera is the trick and roping capital of Texas, and that's part of those championship cowboys there. Those were trick ropers. Now, also too, what happened back in the year 2000, in that era, they went and the Texas legislature passed resolutions in both houses to proclaim Bandera the cowboy capital of the world. And then through our historical mission, we went to the U.S. Congress, and we got the U.S. Congress to agree with us, and they passed resolutions in both houses of the U.S. Congress declaring Bandera the cowboy capital of the world. So we're real proud of that. We're proud of that.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I grew up in Amarillo, surrounded by some of the largest ranches, such as the LX and the JA, which Charles Goodnight played a part in.
Yes,
Chuck
sir.
wagons were invented there.
Oh, yes, sir.
So I always thought Amarillo was the cowboy capital of the world.
Yeah.
But since then, I have discovered there is like maybe 4 or 5 different classes of cowboys.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So there's about, what, 14 dude ranches just right in the area?
Right. When I did the Heritage Park there, I went back and started with the Bruce Ranch and put down all of the dude ranches that we had in Bandera at that time. So I got up, there's like 27 or more dude ranches that were here existed, and quite a number of them are still going on today.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, there is so much going on in this town constantly. I found out that the Visitor Center has a website, and I'm going to give a link to that in the description below the video.
Yes, sir.
So that people can look at all the amazing events that happen in Bandera practically year-round.
Oh, yeah, year-round.
Some of them are huge, like the Cowboy Mardi Gras.
Oh, yes. One of the biggest, yes, sir.
Well, I understand that you have a web presence as well. As a matter of fact, there have been some documentaries done.
Oh, yes, sir.
Of which you have had a part of.
Yes, sir.
Will you tell everybody how to go find that?
Yes, sir.
And then I will also have it on camera, and I'll put that down below the video as well.
Well, thank you. Well, basically, we started doing this and started on a whim. I had a videographer that is a super student that was looking for a project. And so we started with the first part 1 of the history of Bandera. And you can find that if you go on the website and you Google Roy Dugosh. Under YouTube, you can also go under a website called the Cowboy Capital Productions. The Cowboy Capital Productions, and you'll find you'll find 2 of them there, and quite a few other ones. And also, we just finished wrapping up a huge documentary, a 10-day documentary, and this one's going to go global. So if you want to keep track of this, subscribe to the channel there, the Cowboy Capital Productions, and you can follow us, but it's going to look to be out in July. And we did a lot of stuff like you talked about. We went behind the scenes, a lot of the cowboys wranglers, those people that are working you know, in the industry itself. A lot of young cowboys coming up, going to be our next champion bull riders. So we went back behind the scenes and really got a bunch of the background and the real people with real stories about Bandera. And we're bringing that out here in July, but we got the other 2 documentaries on there, and some of those people that are in that documentary are not with us today. So thank goodness we did those interviews and we were able to capture their stories.
Yes, sir.
It's very important that we not forget these stories and that they're here for generations to come.
Yes, sir. I know exactly how that feels. I have interviewed a number of our last living generation, both on cassette tapes and videos. Some of those oral history interviews can be seen on Dusty Reins Stories channel, and 3 of the people from Clarendon have already passed away.
Yes.
Had full intentions of continuing to sell some of these old stories of cow poking and one thing and another, managing ranches, growing ranches.
Yes.
And now they're gone.
That's it.
We can't get those stories
We
back.
cannot get those stories back. So this is very important what you're doing. And my hat's off to you, sir, for doing this. This is a great thing that you do. And I know Bandera's not the end of the story. And I just thank you for what you do.
Well, let's continue on, just continuing on.
It is. And it's fun too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And
I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yes, sir. And I tell you, some of the stories are remarkable. And it just seems like we were born that moment, that day, that person, that video that you captured it. Oh, it's just wonderful.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Looking forward to coming back to Bandera and catching some more.
All right. Well, when you come back, you give me a holler.
Yes, sir.
And I'll get out my old Mary Olds and we'll drive around Bandera and we'll just have a good old time.
All right. Sounds great.
Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you for talking with us.
You bet. Enjoyed it. And that's it from Bandera, Texas, cowboy capital of the world.
Shoot 'em up.
You don't feel good. You don't look good, deputy.
Well, hey. I'm the deputy. I need your gun. Okay?
Go away.
I
Go
need
away.
your gun.
You ain't getting my gun.
You gotta give me your gun when you come to town.
Tell you what, I had to give my gun up during the Confederacy loss. I promise I'd never give it up again. Now, there's 2 of us. Oh, gosh.
Hey, hold it. I don't feel so good. I think I'm having a
Maintain.
Oh, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Hey, Doc, listen, I got
You got.
oh, my darling. Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling.
Hey, deputy.
What?
Hey, how you feeling in there?
I'm okay. Hey, y'all got a light or anything?
Yeah, we're gonna help you out a little bit.
Oh, yeah, in there.
We're gonna help you out a little bit.
Oh, holy smoke. What y'all throw in there? You
Oh, look at you.
heavy.
Are you all right, baby? Oh, you gotta go clean up.
Hey, get something in there.